I found myself in a comfortable upright position, inhaling deeply through my nose and exhaling. Inhaling, bringing my arms up as best I could, and then reaching forward into a child's pose. Allowed myself to stay here. Allow gravity to pull me down, breathing deeply, and at each exhale, feeling a release and a relaxation rush through my body. Turning my head from side to side and feeling the release that gravity provides. A stretch in the neck, and the other side. Allowing myself to be still, to really feel into this. When I was ready, I made my way up into a tabletop position, slowly but surely, as my breasts were engorged, and even this was causing quite some pain, but needed to arch my back and curve my back and allow the body to be more fluid. After 9 months of the spine shifting to accommodate this new weight right in the belly, the body takes a toll. It's a shock when there's no longer that weight there. So the cat-cow, and then gentle rotations for the hips and the wrists, and going back into this again. This was providing so much relief. It's a dramatic difference. A dramatic difference. I allowed my head to hang and moved it from side to side, letting gravity just gently pull it. And when I was ready, I came back down into a child's pose. Breathing, relaxing. Bring my hands up to my head and just gently pulling. Bring my hands into a forward position. Resting in gratitude. Just lay at my sides, resting in this position. Making sure to switch my head from side to side so that there would be a gentle stretch each way. I was ready, slowly got back up into a seated position and just arched my back and sat with myself for a moment, breathing into a gentle flow. At this point, my breast had begun to leak, so I needed a towel. But even movements like that are extremely straining. So gentle movements. You feel the feeling of the towels and the shawl, and even that is extremely sensitive on the body. Just breathe into it and swayed the energy. Prepare yourself. Energy in my neck. Or pressing at the pressure points behind where the skull and head meet, and then baby needed some minor attention. I took care of that and got back to it. Began to do energy work on my head, pulling it down. I was feeling quite some stress during this time. So I was releasing it as that stress was stored in the necks and the shoulders. Holding my hands on my shoulders and just gathering all of that energy, pulling that energy into my heart space to be transmuted. And feeling the tension in my ribs and my hips, rubbing out some of it, dispersing it so it wasn't all congested right there. Still feeling it in my head. Right here, I am realigning my neck. These gentle movements allow the neck and the head to become realigned, and it releases energy that is trapped on there. That energy moves down to the shoulders. So just being here with the energy and moving it down and touching where the milk ducts are, because at this point my breasts were quite engorged and the milk was paving a new pathway. I've never had children before, so my body had to relearn. And it's, if you could imagine, like tiny little vessel being pumped with fluid, you know. It's like your body has to expand, and so it's tight and it has to loosen. It's forcing its way through there, so there's a lot of pressure. And what it feels like when the milk drops is like 1,000 needles. No, 10,000 needles. I digress. Moving to my spine, I am just pressing on either side of the spine right here. And then rubbing the energy down from the top all the way to the bottom, just like brushing it through, allowing there to be a pathway for the energy that I am releasing. And pressing on my lower back at this point, just anywhere that I was feeling tension. So you can notice my darling right now is underneath the UV lights. I'm not a fan of hospitals, never have been, and honestly it was the last place I wanted to be, but as fate would have it, I was brought to a hospital to get a wellness check for my baby. I had Rian at home, and in order to get a birth certificate, I needed to get a wellness check. So 3 days after giving birth, I was brought here to get a wellness check, and immediately he's part Asian. So what's common with Asian babies is jaundice, and of course they tried to give all of these different things, vaccinations, want to do all these different blood tests and try to get me to go underneath tests. And, you know, I absolutely was not having that. Like, I'm only here to get this for my baby so I can, unfortunately, put him into the system. So I went there, and they're like, maybe there's jaundice, you have to do this, you know, go against the authorities there. There's a bunch. I didn't know too much about jaundice. I didn't really know much at all. But what happens is there is a buildup of bilirubin, and the body has to flush it, and you flush that through UV light, sunlight, and breast milk. So it would have happened naturally over time, but I was in a vulnerable state at this point, and I just didn't want to take the chance, and I figured, well, this therapy is just UV, so we're not getting vaccinations, not putting anything in that in his body, but we can do some light therapy. It could only help to speed up the process. They also wanted me to give him formula to help flush his system, and I was just like, no, that's not happening. And I decided to pump the milk electronically with those machines that they give to women to use, just so I could avoid being pressured into formula. And I'm glad that I did, because when the nurses came in, they were shocked. They were like, whoa, that's a lot of milk. And it's like, I have enough milk for my baby. They try to tell me all sorts of things, like that he was allergic to my breast milk and that's why he had jaundice. And I'm just like, no, that is not a real thing. And like, maybe it is for some people, but I just knew in my heart and all of my being, like, there's no way he's allergic to my breast milk. My body is making this specifically for him. So, anyways, here I am in a hospital by myself with my darling, and I'm feeling it. And this was really the first opportunity that I got to do work on myself, because 3 days after giving birth, your body just feels it. It feels so much. And a moment alone is nice, even if it was in a hospital. So I just continued to address the different areas in my body, wherever there was pain, wherever there was pressure, tension. Those were the areas that I would put my hands on, or just intuitively move to and fro, stretching, allowing myself to move forward and fall into it, being patient with myself. This wasn't a workout, this was a way to move the energy in my body so that I could use energy to repair, because at this point I am an open wound. You're bleeding for however many weeks it was. So taking moments like this in imperfect situations, but finding the opportunity to just fall into it, to listen to the body, and to just release, breathe, sway, and release. Gentle circular motions are very, very helpful. It moves the energy all around, and like I was saying, like the spine is a very good starting point on the spine and the hips and the neck, and running that energy eventually down your arms and off your feet, which is what I was doing a little bit earlier when I was talking through my little story. I was moving the energy down my feet, and right here I'm addressing my spine and my neck. In the background, I'm sure you can hear, this is Rian, so fast forward into time, and he is 8.5 months old, happy, healthy, no jaundice, that disappeared. I actually, when I stayed overnight in the hospital, and then after that, they just kept wanting me to get checkups at the doctors, and those situations were just not great. So when they check for bilirubin levels, they prick blood from the bottom of the foot, and
they do it on the heel, and they have to like really get it flowing. And so at the hospital, you know, they're more experienced, they know how to do it. When I went to the doctors, the pediatricians, to get it done, the inmate was scared. She was afraid to do it. So, you know, I let her do it, and I just saw that she was causing him so much pain and trauma and discomfort, and it's like, I didn't want to overstep, but at the same time, I'm like, this is my baby. How can I do this nicely? And I just kind of like went in, and I just started massaging his foot, right? You know, like making the circulation go through. And then I was just squeezing it a little gently, and she's just like shaking and nervous. You can see it in her eyes, and you know, she's vocalizing, and this is such a baby, I've never done it before, which also shows you like it's wrong. You shouldn't do it. But anyways, so I started to do that, and I was just like, you know what, like, let me do it. And I'm like, is that okay? And she's like, well, you can try. And she gives me the pinprick and the little vial, and allows me to do it. And because I had seen them do it at the hospital, like, I already knew what to do. So like I already massaged his foot, and I was like just gently pressing around the heel and like scooping it into the vial and getting it, because you know, I did let her try for like 30 minutes, and it was just like, this is going on way too long, like way too long. I don't know what the rules are around this, but like, I can do this, you know, like, this is my baby. I don't want this to be happening in the first place. So anyways, I do that, and I get her the vials of blood that she needs, and she's just so thankful, and me, I'm just like so thankful too. And after that, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I got trapped. I got stuck in this system that I'm just not okay with, not comfortable with. It goes against so much. So then I dipped. I reached out to a friend, and he came and picked me up and relocated me from the city that I was in. So I did not do those follow-ups, and I just took matters into my own hands and, you know, fed him extra. I would catch the extra milk that was coming from my breast after feeding him. From my breast, I would then feed him the extra in a bottle. So he was getting a lot of milk and flushing through, and it's probably why he's so chunky now, you know, like really expanding that almond acorn sized stomach early on, just to keep flushing. And we would go outside, and I would make sure to do like gentle sunlight. So before 10 o'clock in the rising is where the sun is really gentle. And you know, I did have a lot of input because of precautions. Like, people would say, like, don't bring your baby outside. They're too young. Like, you're exposing them to so much. But I was using discernment too. So I figured nature, right? Like, think way back. Look, we were born outside. And sure, things have changed, but it didn't make sense to me. It's like, why not bring the baby outside? Like, I know that indigenous people, even like people from where my dad is from, like Cambodia, it's like their babies are strapped to them. They're outside. It's like, he needs UV light, and I'm not gonna keep going through this. And so I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. I know you just gotta flush it, you know? And so I did that, and here he is. I'm not saying this is what you should do. I'm just sharing what my experience was and what my anxieties were and how I went through it. So getting back to what I'm doing right here, I am laying flat. So one thing, it might not seem very productive at all, but if you just lay on your back and like on a flat surface or just like a firm bed, like, it feels so good. Your spine just realigns itself.
And it really, like, just 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as long as you can, just like feel into that and breathe and let gravity go, then it does wonders. Right here, I'm trying to get up. You can see like how difficult that was because there's so much pressure. Like, your skin is stretching, the ducts are stretching, and it just, like, every movement just really hurts. Your ribs hurt too. And right here, I decided to help the milk move through, and I'm just applying a light pressure, but then using energy work too, like feeling energy in my hands and visualizing it magnetizing to the milk, and I'm pulling it down and down and down and through the nipple area, and just like intuitively doing it, really just feeling, okay, like, where is it hurting right now? Like, I'm going to pull it through. Like, it just needs to move. There's an energy blockage here. It needs to move, and it started moving. So I get the towel again, and I put it here just to try to catch some of it. It's just, this was a very messy time, honestly. You don't want anything touching you, but I was in hospital, so you kind of have to. There was one moment where I'm just like letting it all out, and a nurse walks in, and it's just like, there's a part of her that was just like, okay, like, I accept this is just like whatever, but another part, it was just like, she should really be covering it up, and I was just like, like, I don't even care right now. You got boobs too, I see. You have a nipple, I have a nipple, okay, we're good here. But yeah, so a lot of feeling the energy and breathing, allowing yourself to take those or myself to take those deep breaths, and just being thankful that he's here, and we're here together.